Welcome to you, Mother Truckers. Podcast your weekly pit stop for wild tales and fantastic flash fiction stories.
Great to be here.
Today, you've shared two intriguing stories with us, both centered on individuals pursuing something extraordinary and facing some truly immense and unexpected consequences.
Yeah, these ones really make you think.
You were curious about what drives this ambition and the unforeseen ripples of those individual choices. Let's dive right into these, shall we?
Absolutely. These are the kind of narratives that really stick with you, prompting you to consider the less obvious costs associated with even our most fervent desires.
Right.
It's fascinating how both stories, despite their wildly different settings, explore this core idea of unintended repercussions.
Okay, let's start by unpacking the first flash fiction story, which we're calling Forever Young.
Okay.
Picture the scenario you sent over. A group of teenagers in a seemingly ordinary small town, summer in full swing, and instead of diligently lifeguarding, they stumble upon a map.
Uh-huh. Not just any map, though.
And not just any map, right, but one pilfered from their history teacher, promising nothing less than the legendary Fountain of Youth, hidden deep within the Forbidden Woods.
Classic teenage move, breaking the rules.
Totally. It begins as this almost innocent escapade, fueled by that youthful sense of invincibility and the, irresistible draw of the impossible. What struck you about that initial setup?
Well, the initial contrast is quite telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
The mundane expectation of their summer lifeguarding duty.
Right, the pool.
Juxtaposed with this extraordinary, almost mythical quest, it immediately highlights how easily the allure of the fantastical can override our sense of the practical.
Yeah.
Even when there are clear indications of potential danger, like venturing into forbidden woods based on a stolen map. That act itself speaks to a youthful impulsivity and perhaps a belief that they are somehow exempt from consequences.
Exactly. And when they actually locate this fabled fountain, it's described in a way that subverts expectations. Not this grand, majestic spectacle, but rather a rather unassuming, mossy cleft with water that has this subtly unsettling shimmer.
Yeah, not exactly what you picture from the legends.
Not at all. And it's Ben, the self-proclaimed cynic of the group, who actually suggests they take a drink. It's almost paradoxical, isn't it?
It really is.
You'd expect the most skeptical one to be the most hesitant.
That's a really interesting point. Perhaps Ben's cynicism acts as a kind of reverse psychology, a belief that because something seems so outlandish, it probably isn't real and therefore can't hurt them.
Oh, like a dare me kind of thing.
Maybe. Or maybe, deep down, even the cynic harbors a secret yearning for something extraordinary to disrupt the ordinary. It's a reminder that cynicism isn't always a shield against belief. Sometimes it's a way of managing disappointment when those beliefs aren't realized.
Never thought of it that way. So they each take just a small sip.
It's a little bit.
The immediate effect isn't some dramatic transformation, but rather this subtle chill and a sudden, sharp clarity for two of them, Sarah and Ben. You can almost imagine them thinking it was anticlimactic, that's all. And then they return to their town completely unprepared for the horrific scene that awaits them.
Oh, yeah.
What was your immediate reaction to that stark shift in tone?
It's a brutal narrative pivot.
Yeah.
Wow. The initial sense of youthful adventure is so quickly and violently shattered by the reality they encounter back home.
It's jarring.
Totally. The description of the townspeople, grandparents, infants, everyone rapidly aging and withering drives home the devastating truth. The fountain wasn't granting youth, but leeching life force.
Oh, my God.
Their seemingly insignificant act, those few sips, had aged the entire world around them by decades. It's a powerful illustration of how actions, even those taken lightly, can have catastrophic and unforeseen consequences on a scale we can barely comprehend.
Absolutely devastating is right. And the personal impact on Sarah, who's described as the romantic of the group, feels particularly poignant.
Yeah, Sarah.
She initially clings to this desperate hope that they can somehow undo what they've done by returning to the fountain.
Which you can understand, right? The denial.
Totally. But the story emphasizes the irreversible nature of their actions. These teenagers are now left immortal in a world that's rapidly decaying. What does that say about the nature of immortality when divorced from the context of life and connection?
It presents a really bleak perspective on eternal life. What initially seems like the ultimate wish fulfillment becomes a profound burden when everyone and everything you know and love is fading away.
It's a curse, really.
Exactly. Sarah's initial hope, while understandable as a coping mechanism against unimaginable guilt and horror, ultimately highlights the cruel irony of their situation. Immortality without a world to live in, without connection or shared experience, becomes a form of isolation and perhaps even a kind of living death.
The flash fiction story then paints this incredibly grim picture of the world's demise. Cities turning to dust, the few remaining survivors fading into what are described as ancient echoes.
It's chilling imagery.
It's a truly haunting vision of the widespread destruction caused by their impulsive act. And in the midst of this horrifying aftermath, Ben, the quiet cynic, takes this really symbolic action.
Yeah, it's a move.
He builds a pyre on the beach, not for themselves, but to burn the map, the very source of their misguided desire. What did you make of that gesture?
Ben's act feels like a profound acknowledgement of their responsibility and a desperate attempt to prevent a similar catastrophe from ever happening again. It's almost like penance.
Maybe.
The destruction of the map symbolizes a desire to erase the possibility of that particular temptation, that specific path to ruin. The beach setting, often associated with vastness in the future, becomes a stark reminder of the future they have inadvertently destroyed.
Wow.
It's quiet but incredibly powerful moment of remorse and acceptance of their irreversible mistake.
And the story concludes with Sarah and Ben alone in the ruins, their immortality now feeling like this incredibly heavy crown.
Heavy crown. That's a good way to put it.
They sing under the stars, this frail, melancholic melody that just underscores the utter emptiness of their eternal existence in a dead world.
Just the two of them left.
The story ends by posing this really unsettling question. Is their fate a punishment for their actions, or simply the cold, uncaring, cruel mathematics of the fountain's power? What are your thoughts on that ambiguity?
That open ending is incredibly effective. It avoids a simplistic moral judgment and instead forces us to confront the inherent consequences of their actions, regardless of intent.
So no easy answers.
Nope. The cruel mathematics suggests a natural law at play, where the fountain's power has a fixed exchange rate youth for some means, accelerated aging for others. It's just going to cause and effect, maybe.
Right.
Their song, a small act of human expression in the face of cosmic indifference, highlights the enduring human spirit even in utter desolation. It leaves you contemplating the nature of causality and whether there's always a moral balance sheet to be settled, or if sometimes the universe simply operates according to its own set of rules.
It's a chilling thought indeed. Okay, let's shift gears now and delve into our second flash fiction story you shared with us, The Rift Run.
All right, Rift Run, let's do it.
This one transports us to a completely different reality, a universe where these tears in the fabric of reality, these rifts, aren't anomalies to be feared, but rather these incredible racetracks for fame and glory.
Yeah, like cosmic NASCAR or something.
Can you even imagine such a spectacle? These rifts offering glimpses into bizarre worlds with shifting gravity and these wild crimson skies?
The premise is certainly imaginative and speaks to humanity's potential to not only adapt to the extraordinary, but to even exploit it for entertainment and achievement.
Definitely exploit it.
The imagery you mentioned, shifting gravity, crimson skies, immediately creates a sense of the otherworldly and the inherent danger involved in such a sport. It's a world where the fundamental laws of physics as we know them are fluid and subject to change within these rifts, raising the stakes for the racers immensely.
Absolutely. And the Rift Run is portrayed as this massive, highly publicized event, drawing huge, enthusiastic crowds.
Big business, I bet.
Oh, yeah. We have riders literally vanishing into alien planets and then reappearing, all in this high-stakes pursuit of victory across these different dimensions. It's all about pushing the limits and achieving legendary status. What does this kind of societal embrace of such a dangerous phenomenon tell us about ambition and the human appetite for spectacle?
It suggests a society that has perhaps become desensitized to risk, or at least willing to accept it in the pursuit of extraordinary achievement and entertainment.
Like extreme sports today, maybe?
Kind of, but dialed way up. The enthusiastic crowds highlight our fascination with the extreme, with witnessing individuals push beyond perceived limitations. It also raises questions about what we value as a society. Is it the pursuit of knowledge and understanding of these rifts, or is it primarily their exploitation for entertainment and personal glory?
Good question. And our protagonist in this flash fiction story, Maya, she's at the pinnacle of this world. She achieves victory, earns this legendary status, and amasses trophies as symbols of her success.
Living the dream, seemingly.
But then, after one of her wins, she experiences this really unsettling silence, a moment where the roar of the crowd fades, and she notices this bizarre glitch in her reflection, her eyes flashing an alien green.
Whoa, okay.
It's a subtle but deeply disturbing moment that hints at a hidden cost to her ambition. What did that detail signify to you?
That glitch is a crucial turning point, I think. A subtle intrusion of the other realities into Maya's own. The flash of alien green eyes suggests a potential merging or contamination, maybe? A consequence of repeatedly traversing these rifts.
Like, she's changing.
Possibly. It's the first crack in the facade of pure athletic achievement, hinting that the races might be having a more profound and potentially dangerous impact on the racers themselves, beyond the obvious physical risks. It introduces an element of the unknown and the potential for unintended biological or even existential consequences.
Right, and that's when the old physicist who works on the racers' bikes steps in.
The tech guy.
Yeah. He's initially presented as this enthusiastic supporter, tinkering with their technology, but he reveals this alarming truth to Maya, that each race, each crossing of these dimensional boundaries, is actually thinning the fabric of reality, jeopardizing the stability of different worlds.
Oh, man. That's heavy.
He even shows Maya the complex calculations, the hard scientific evidence of this unraveling that's happening beneath the surface of the spectacle. What's the significance of introducing this scientific perspective?
Well, the physicist serves as the voice of reason and scientific understanding in a world driven by adrenaline and spectacle.
The conscience, maybe?
Sort of. His calculations provide a much-needed objective measure of the potential harm being caused by the rift runs, damage that is invisible to the cheering crowds and even the racers themselves in their pursuit of victory. It highlights the potential for a disconnect between individual ambition and a broader understanding of the interconnectedness of reality and the potential for unintended consequences on a much larger scale.
The realization hits Maya hard. She understands that they're not just these celebrated athletes pushing personal limits. They're unknowingly causing potentially irreversible cosmic damage with every race, with every cheer of the crowd.
That's got to be rough.
It completely reframes her understanding of her achievements and the entire sport. How do you think this kind of knowledge would impact someone who's reached the peak of their profession?
It would likely be a profoundly disorienting and ethically challenging moment. Maya's entire identity and sense of purpose have been built around her success as a rift runner.
Is everything she is?
Exactly. To suddenly understand that her achievements are contributing to widespread, unseen damage would force her to confront a significant moral dilemma. Continue to pursue personal glory at the expense of potentially destabilizing reality, or sacrifice her fame and fortune for a greater, but less visible, good? It speaks to the conflict between individual ambition and collective responsibility.
And during her next race, Maya's perspective has completely shifted. She starts to see things she hadn't noticed before, the subtle flicker of something alien at the edges of reality. These dimensions almost starting to bleed together as racers cross the finish line.
She's seeing the cracks.
It's as if her newfound knowledge has attuned her senses to the underlying instability they're creating. How does this change in her perception heighten the tension of the story?
It adds a layer of dramatic irony and suspense, definitely. The reader, along with Maya, is now aware of the hidden danger lurking beneath the surface of the exhilarating race.
You're waiting for something bad to happen.
Right. What were once just exciting visual anomalies or the backdrop of exotic rift worlds now become ominous signs of the unraveling of reality. This shift in Maya's perception transforms the race from a purely athletic competition into a potential catalyst for cosmic catastrophe, increasing the stakes far beyond mere victory or defeat.
So at the next podium, instead of basking in the glory of another likely victory, Maya makes this incredibly bold choice.
Takes a stand.
She speaks out publicly about the devastating real cost of their races. Unsurprisingly, this leads to significant backlash from the fans and sponsors who are invested in the spectacle and the profits it generates.
Of course, follow the money.
But importantly, it also plants seeds of doubt and awareness in some people's minds. What does this moment say about the power of an individual to challenge established norms?
Maya's actions demonstrate the potential for even a single voice, especially one with a platform and credibility, to challenge deeply ingrained societal norms in the interests of powerful institutions.
Even against huge opposition.
Yeah. While she faces immediate negative consequences, her willingness to speak truth to power, even at personal cost, introduces a critical perspective into the public consciousness. The seeds of doubt she plants represent the possibility of change, even in the face of widespread resistance, suggesting that awareness can be the first step towards acknowledging and addressing harmful practices.
And as a result, the rift runs in their original reckless and unrestrained form eventually cease.
So she made a difference.
She did. Maya, now viewed by some as a traitor to the sport she once dominated and by others as a hero for her courageous stance, teams up with the physicist.
From racer to scientist.
Kinda. Their focus shifts from this wild, uncontrolled racing to trying to understand, control, and even potentially bridge these rifts in a safer, more responsible way. What's the significance of her changing role?
It signifies a profound evolution of her character and her understanding of responsibility. Maya transitions from being a participant in a potentially destructive activity to actively seeking solutions and working towards the greater good.
What a real redemption arc.
Totally. Her collaboration with the physicist emphasizes the importance of integrating scientific knowledge with practical experience to address complex problems. It's a move away from the pursuit of individual glory towards a commitment to the well-being of multiple realities, highlighting a more mature and altruistic form of ambition.
The flash fiction story concludes with Maya's racing by gathering dust, a symbol of her past life. But she's found this new and arguably more important purpose as a rift walker, dedicated to the quiet, dangerous work of holding the worlds together.
Wow, rift walker. I like that.
She's traded that fleeting fame and glory for the immense and ongoing responsibility of maintaining cosmic balance. What a powerful transformation to end on.
It is a powerful arc, demonstrating that true fulfillment and purpose might lie not in the fleeting accolades of competitive success, but in contributing to something far more significant and enduring.
Yeah.
The description of her new work as quiet and dangerous underscores the weight and true importance of her new role, a stark contrast to the roaring crowds and high-octane thrills of her racing days. It suggests a deeper satisfaction derived from responsibility and the unseen work of maintaining stability.
So, in these two incredibly imaginative flash fiction stories you shared with us, we see these really dramatic and unforeseen consequences stemming from the pursuit of the extraordinary, whether it's the yearning for eternal youth or the desire for ultimate thrill and fame.
Two sides of a similar coin, almost.
What began as a youthful adventure in one story and a relentless pursuit of glory in the other both spiraled into these immense existential burdens and universal responsibilities.
Absolutely. Both narratives serve as compelling allegories, prompting us to consider the broader implications of our individual and collective desires and actions. They highlight the interconnectedness of our world, or worlds, in Maya's case,
Yeah.
and the potential for even seemingly isolated pursuits to have far-reaching and often unpredictable consequences.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What seemingly harmless pursuits or widely accepted practices in our own world might be carrying unintended and far-reaching consequences that we're not fully aware of.
That's the scary part.
Are we always truly considering the full cost of our ambitions, both individually and as a society? These stories, though works of fiction, offer this really potent reminder to look beyond the immediate allure and to critically examine the bigger picture.
That's the crucial takeaway for me as well. These narratives encourage a deeper level of critical thinking about our desires and the potential ripple effects of our choices. They challenge us to consider not just what we stand to gain, but also what might be lost, and who might ultimately bear the cost of our ambitions.
Well said. Thank you for joining us for this pit stop on You Mother Truckers podcast.
My pleasure. Always fascinating stuff.
We hope these wild tales have given you something truly captivating to ponder long after we're gone. Rate and follow You Mother Truckers for more captivating mysteries from the world of flash fiction.
Do it.
Now consider this, thinking about these stories of unforeseen consequences. What's one extraordinary thing you might be tempted to pursue, and what's the one potential hidden cost that would make you hesitate? Something to contemplate until our next pit stop.